Classification: Unaliver. Characteristics: Dismemberment. Number of victims: 1. Date of unaliving: March 28th, 1984. Date of arrest: April 8th, 1984. Date of birth: February 16th, 1961. Victim profile: George Grant Crooks, 28. His lover. Method of murder: stabbing with a screwdriver. Location: Fulton County, Georgia, USA. Status: executed by lethal injection in Georgia on July 12th, 2015. March 26, 1984, attorney George Crooks left his office at approximately 3 o'clock p.m. because he was not feeling well. After getting a prescription filled, George was at home in Smyrna, Georgia. During the early evening hours, 28-year-old Crooks knew Robert as they had met at an I-20 highway rest stop. The men had established a physical relationship over a period of time. George went to Robert's Lake Forest apartment in Atlanta, Georgia on Monday night, March 26, 1984. George took his codeine medication and both men smoked marijuana. George remained at Robert's apartment overnight. George's parents and coworkers were unable to contact him on Tuesday, March 27th, 1984. George's father went to his son's empty apartment and saw his son's open briefcase lying beside the telephone answering machine. George's automobile was not parked at his apartment, and a missing persons report was filed. A maintenance man employed at Roberts Lake Forest apartment complex was collecting aluminum cans from the trash dumpster on Wednesday, March 28th, 1984, when he discovered discredited human body parts encased in black plastic garbage bags. The authorities were notified. Fulton County Police Department investigators arrived at the apartment complex dumpster site shortly after 9 o'clock a.m. and removed the contents of the large metal trash container. Various body parts, knives, bloody bedclothes, screwdrivers, rope, credit cards, wallet, and miscellaneous in the dumpster. And all these papers belonging to George. Wow. The reverse side of the attorney's business card contained Robert's name and telephone number. A total of 10 plastic garbage bags were removed from the garbage dumpster, 9 of which contained body parts. George's father probably identified the body of that of his son, George. The police learned that Robert resided at the Copeland Road apartment complex in an apartment located approximately 260 feet from the dump site. George's apartment was searched on April 7th, 1984. The bed clothing was missing from Robert's bed and the mattress appeared to be blood soaked. The jamming knife garbage disposal contained what appeared to be internal organs. Oh my God. Ugh, how can you put somebody's intestines in a garbage disposal? Robert was arrested on April 8th, 1984, and advised of his Miranda rights. He went to the police department after being advised of his rights. Robert signed the waiver of the rights form, made and signed a statement. Robert claimed that he and George were wrestling and struggling on Robert's bed. However, a coworker of Roberts testified that he did not exhibit body bruises during the early morning hours of March 28th, 1984. Another coworker also testified at trial that although Robert appeared ill at ease on Tuesday evening, March 27th, 1984, Robert did not show evidence of scars or body bruises. Also revealed that George coronated wasn't what it should be. What? Because he was gay? Make it make sense. Ro- Robert test in his statement, he acknowledged that he grabbed a screwdriver and struck the victim. When George rolled from the bed, Robert pushed the screwdriver into the victim's ear and wiggled the weapon around. Oh, God, he was trying to get into his brain? Robert attempted to dispose of the victim by cutting up the body. Robert drove to George's apartment and removed potential incriminating material, including an answering machine, tape, and cards. Robert purchased cleaning supplies, knives, gloves, garbage bags, garbage cans, and a cart with George's money. Robert placed the evidence in the trash dumpster and fled to Florida, subsequently returning to Atlanta, Georgia. Whoa. This is how motherfuckers get caught. Wow. Fulton County Associate Medical Examiner Salih Zaki examined the body pieces of George. The George's body had 10 knife stab wounds to the right upper side of the neck, which were inflicted prior to his death. Wow. The Dr. Zaki observed a downward narrow stab wound to the back of the left ear area that tore the ear canal and mastoid area, which wounded also occurred before he died and was associated with hemorrhaging. Bruising with swelling to the right ear auricle was consistent with blunt force trauma. Oh my God, the liner scratch to the right cheek area occurred prior to his death. Oh my God, I know he had to suffer bad, bro. Areas of bruising to the right, middle, and left portions of the scalp and head that had been inflicted prior to his death were consistent with blunt force trauma. Damn. Deep neck bruises were inflicted prior to his death and left collarbone area sustained two short stab wounds, one penetrating his lung. George was breathing when this happened. His wound was consistent with a screwdriver being used as a weapon. The right shoulder area contained four stab wounds. Oh, God. Dr. Ziggy also observed stab wounds to the left hand inflicted before his death. So all this was happening while they were so-called wrestling on the bed? Stabbing his man like that? No wonder the mattress was soaked. Dr. Zaki testified at trial that George died as a result of a stab wound to the chest and neck, with a contributing factor being blunt force trauma to the neck and head. Dr. Zeki further testified at court the stab wounds to the buttocks and the right thigh had been inflicted after the death of the victim. Medical examiner Zeki stated that bruising basically does not occur after death. The two weapons used to inflict these injuries were a screwdriver and a knife. That is nasty work. A sample of the carpet fibers removed from Robert's apartment was compared to the fibers recovered from the bed clothing, which was introduced as evidence. Large number of fibers from the bed clothing was found to possess the same microscopic characteristics as the carpet fibers. Damn. The comparison known fingerprints of the victim to prints developed from the drinking glass recovered from Robert's bedroom showed that a latent print on the glass was made by the right middle finger of the victim. A comparison of fingerprints from recovered incriminating evidence to known prints of Robert showed that the evidence fingerprints belonged to Robert. Damn. The victim's blood was found to be internationally blood group O. His blood samples taken from two knives Apartment carpet pieces, mattress stains, human tissue, and bedclothes were the same blood type as that of the victim. Robert testified at his trial that he had informed George that the men could not see each other anymore and that George was upset. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. According to Robert, George initially poked Robert in the chest because angry and hit Robert. Robert stated that George died as the man struggled on the bedroom floor after the victim was struck in the ear and hit in the head with a screwdriver by Robert. The large quantity of George's blood absorbed on the soaked mattress was not consistent with Robert's statement of having attacked the victim on the floor. Robert admitted having used a screwdriver as a weapon. Robert admitted dragging George's body into the bathroom tub and attempted to drain the blood from his body, but it was too late to do anything. What the hell? Robert admitted that from a admitted that the idea of disposing of George's body might have come from a book and was discovered lying on Robert's bedroom floor. The book is called Foxfire. Yo, what the hell? So basically, he went to trial, okay, and the jury found Robert guilty of malice murder on June 15th, 1984. Damn it! Damn, they he was he was arrested, and then they tried him that same month. Oh my god! Hello. So the U.S. Supreme Court rejected Robert's last minute appeals on 7/12/5. Okay. So now they walked him into the chamber where they were going to do the lethal injection. All right. So Robert had no final statement, but he did ask for a final prayer. Okay. So a friend named Sherry Parker of his sat in the second row to be a witness. When Robert was strapped to the gurney and before the chemicals were administered, he said hello and smiled at her, and Sherry waved back. As the chemicals were administered, he looked at her and said goodbye, his chest weaved and his head tilted back, and the woman started crying uncontrollably and left the chamber. The victims, George's brother Jim and sister in law, represented the family as George's witnesses. So, this cold blooded person was given the lethal injection at a state prison in Jackson, and he was pronounced dead at 7:45 p.m. on July 12th, 2005. And this is what he ate.